तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्. What's the third one we do?
Guru Brahma, yellow.
Yeah. ठीक है, Guru Brahma and then Tamil Mata. Yeah. Okay. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. I think I would like to remember Nisha. So we will do this, what we'll do 3 times Trayambakam mantra for her.
Okay.
And then we'll have a 1 minute of silence and then we'll start. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanan mrityurmukshiyamamritat. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
I'm going to move that side. It's so much sun
Yeah,
here.
anybody wants to move, please feel free because sun is going to move, so we'll have to adjust accordingly. And I don't need the table, we can even move wherever, So.
Table?
We can, go to a direction that it's gonna. Everybody okay right now?
Yeah, I'm fine now.
Okay, let's do the Vasudeva Sutams before we start. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuram Mardanam Devaki
Paramanandam
Krishnam
Vande Jagadguru
Krishnam
Vande Jagadguru.
So it's been a while, but we'll get back to where we were. And remember, we were on verse 16, correct?
Yes.
And we had read half of it. And book of knowledge. Here it is. So let's just chant it again one more time. Na sato vidyate bhavaha
Na sato vidyate bhava
Na bhavo vidyate sataha
Na bhavo vidyate sataha
Ubhayorapi drishtontaha
Ubhayorapi drishtontaha
Tvanayo tattvadarshibhihi Tvanayo tattvadarshibhihi. So just to remember the background that we are in chapter 2. And the chapter 1, the last scene was that Arjun had dropped his bow and arrow and he was very dejected, depressed, upset, and he said he doesn't want to fight. And then when chapter 2 started, he still wasn't ready. And he said, Krishna Bhagwan actually scolded him quite a bit. We went through all that. call them weakness of heart. Why do you have the weakness of heart? Hridaya Dorbalyam, Shudram, your mind has become small thinking and your impotency and all those things. And then he still urged him to get up and fight. And then he says, but how can I, he still is resistant. And he said, how can I, fight with weapons with this, my guru and my grandfather? They are worthy of worship with flowers, And then he, all of a sudden he realized that he's confused actually. He doesn't know whether it's good that they will kill me or I kill them, or what do I do? Do I fight? Do I not fight? Both look kind of a bad option to him. That means he had a confusion. So when somebody realizes, yes, I am confused, that's when they are ready to listen to somebody else. Before that, he was continuously giving pravachan. So now he's ready, so he surrenders to Krishna Bhagwan, and he actually says those words that, please teach me what is good for me. And then we had gone through this whole thing that Shreyas is like not only good for me, good for everybody. Because sometimes people can get selfish at it. Just tell me what is good for me. No, that's not what he asked. Shreyas. And then he also that I'm your Shishya. So the symbolism here is that Krishna Bhagwan doesn't talk until you surrender to him. Otherwise you can go do your own free will. But if you surrender, then he will guide you. So that's for us, that's what it is. And then Krishna Bhagwan starts, so now he was so dejected that the first thing Krishna Bhagwan has to do is to bring him out of his deep dejection. So he tells him the highest knowledge. Now there is one more point here, that Arjun was not any ordinary person. He had also studied Shastras, But just like us, we kind of know it, but when the time comes, we forget how to apply, or we don't know how to apply, and we become impotent in applying it. Same condition was Arjun's. But if somebody reminds us, it's more likely that I'll say, oh yes, I've heard about that. So just keep that in mind, because otherwise there is a question, why did Krishna Bhagwan give the highest knowledge first? Because Arjun already knows these things. But that highest knowledge is also not sunk into us yet. And so even if we are studying Mandukya and all, we still have some doubts here and there, and we have not experienced it yet. So by constantly being in that mode and clearing it out, one day our mind will keep getting purified, then we'll get it. So from that perspective, if we look at it, then we'll understand. So in other words, Krishna Bhagwan gives him the highest knowledge first. So that's where we are. And the first thing he tells him that, you're talking like a pandit, but wise people don't cry for people who are alive or dead, both. So from the surface, it kind of looks very cruel, but so there is a deep meaning in it. From what standpoint Krishna Bhagwan is saying. So that's what we have to remember. Because if you just tell the ordinary people that, they will get very upset. That's not what he's talking about. So if Krishna Bhagwan is saying there has to be some very deep meaning. So and then I had told you guys last time that verse 16 is actually, a lot of people consider is like the whole gist of Bhagavad Gita. And the Sarva Priyananji calls it heart of Bhagavad Gita, and he has done a whole discourse on it and all that. So keeping that in mind, and we just start that now. So that's the background. So Sushilji, maybe we can, since we only read 2-3 paragraphs, we can read the whole thing. It will be better after such a big period. The unreal, yeah.
The unreal has no being. There is no non-being of the real. The truth about both these has been seen by the knowers of the truth, or the seers of the essence.
So before we go into it, I think all of us kind of know it. Here he's used double negative. Basically what he's saying, जो सत है वो हमेशा सत ही रहता है, और जो असत है उसका अस्तित्व कभी था ही नहीं. That's in simple Hindi. You understood, right? Shireen, I said in Hindi.
Yes.
Yeah. The truth always remains.
Truth prevails, yeah.
And untruth in this Vedantic language is saying it was never be, and it's like a false. Appearances come and go basically. That's what it is. And then no, and here Krishna Bhagwan is not saying I am saying that. That's another very important thing. He's saying that this has been seen by the knowers of the truth. That's a very important thing, because like somebody was explaining that in science, when new discoveries are made, we may not understand everything about it, but we believe in it because it has been done by such great people and verified. And whenever there's a paper that appears in a scientific, there is a process that goes through, so you believe in it. So he's saying even if you don't know at this point this final truth, because the knowers of the truth, those great rishis are saying, you should have faith in it too. So that's where we should be, because sometimes like I still don't understand 100% everything. That's okay, but just have faith because the knowers of the truth have told you that. Rishi, Munis and all, but after so many years of contemplation, experiment and all those, they are telling you. Because that is a very important thing, because otherwise if one person just says, it can be Krishna Bhagwan also, that's not good enough.
That's why I was wondering, because he surrendered and then Krishna Bhagwan ji is saying that.
But remember,
then why-
his surrender is not complete yet.
And just because he's in the form, Krishna Bhagwan, that he has to say that because the form is there? Or because,
No, I'm sorry, what exactly is your question?
my question is, why did he have to say that the rishis are also...
Because he has said that many times in Bhagavad Gita, because this is what he's telling Arjuna, whatever I'm telling you,
Yes.
I'm not concocting it from anywhere. This is a Upanishad se aa raha hai. It is very clearly mentioned, because even in the Sankalpa Vakya after every chapter, it
This
says
is-
Upanishadsu, right?
Yeah.
Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu.
Right.
So what they are trying to tell you is, see, because in a lot of other religions, it's one person's word. Hinduism is not like that. It's been verified by so many people, so continuously the same thing.
Yes.
So here also he's giving validity to that, because otherwise people can get fanatic. There will just one person is saying that, that's it. No. 100 people are saying who are very, very qualified. So this particular theme of him saying, because many other verses also he will say wise people say that,
Yeah.
and
No,
all
he
that.
says that. I mean,
And
there
then-
are just question.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And the other thing is that when you talk about surrender, somebody mentioned it very nicely that there are two kinds of surrender. This was partial surrender he did.
At this point,
He
yes.
said that I will not fight unless you teach me what the correct thing is,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
The last time, chapter 18 में जो उसका surrender आया ना, it was a complete. His words were totally different.
Yeah.
Said that my delusion is gone. I will do exactly what you tell me now. That's what he told him. अभी वो ये नहीं बोल रहा है.
Right.
अभी बोला
Okay.
teach me.
Yeah. Yeah.
See the difference between the surrender?
Yeah, but to some extent he has surrendered. That's
Partially. So right now our surrender is partial too, because we don't have that experience yet.
Yeah.
So we still, that's why we have doubt. He said, and then in Arjun's words, when he surrendered, he said, I surrender to you, all my doubts are gone. That's the Sanskrit translation, English translation of Sanskrit words that he uses. And you know that when we are studying, we still have doubt, which is okay. Because we are at that early stages of Arjuna right now. Our journey is from here, that's why we are studying. By the time we finish, hopefully our doubts will be lot less, and continue the journey. Yeah.
So at this point, does Arjun know that he is who real Krishna is?
Not technically he doesn't. In chapter 4 he will know, because he will reveal. Chapter
Right, so
4
that's
he
what
will
I'm saying,
reveal.
that should answer.
Yeah,
that
that's another
question.
point that
He
that's
doesn't know
Sushil is
him.
bringing. Because he thinks that he's my friend,
Yeah.
he's my relative, and he's very, very wise. See, even among our friends, अगर हमको सचमुच कोई प्रॉब्लम होएगा, हम सबसे वाइज होएगा उसी के पास जाने की कोशिश करेंगे, ताकि वो हमारा सॉल्व कर सकता है. एंड देन अभी तो उसके पास कोई चॉइस भी नहीं था, उसके
वो दिखाएंगे अपने रूप
हाँ
बाद
वो
में
बाद
अध्याय
में
में, तो
दिखाएंगे.
फिर
बट इधर वॉर में कृष्ण भगवान ही बैठे हुए हैं उसके पास, और तो कोई है भी नहीं.
Right. Yeah.
तो फिर लेकिन उसको ये समझ में आ गया कि मेरी बुद्धि भ्रष्ट हो गई है, अभी मेरे को कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. दिस पर्सन इज मोर सेंसिबल. हम लोग कभी कभी ऑब्जेक्टिवली किसी और को भी पूछते हैं, You know, when we are totally swayed in emotion, I might come into you, hey, how do you see objectively this whole thing?
Right.
But Krishna Bhagwan was known to everybody for a great being, but technically according to Bhagavad Gita, abhi wo usko pata nahi hai uski divinity ka. In fact, he will question his divinity also in chapter 4. When Krishna Bhagwan will say, मैंने ये सूर्य को बताया था, तो बोला ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है सूर्य? You know, वो तो इतना पुराना है, मैं आप फिर
Then
so
he will become.
yes. So all that will come. Yeah. Okay.
Here is another reason why the vagaries of life and the varieties of experiences should not upset us. But on the other hand, they must be cheerfully endured by a wise man. This stanza, while giving the philosophical reasons, championing the cause of mental tranquility, indicates that it can rise only out of an intellectual grasp of right interpretation of life.
So this is also very, very important because the previous verse, he actually said that, I'll just read the English translation, 15. O chief among men, that firm man whom surely these afflict not. These meaning the ups and downs of life that we have talked about. To whom pleasure and pain is the same, is fit for realizing the immortality of the self. So that means if you want that final experience, you will have to learn to ups and downs of life, be equanimous. Now the question is, hey, how can I do that? Why do I need to do that? And what is the purpose? And that answer is given in here because basically they are saying is, it's like the world is constantly changing and it is asat. Then whether it is happy or false, what difference does it make? That from the highest philosophy. That's what the point they're trying to bring in over here. That, and then the other thing is that this is the only way of thinking is going to take away our deep sorrow. Because one of the problems that Arjuna was having, the reason he could not fight because he went into grief. So, but grief can happen so many different reasons, right? So what they're trying to say is that the grief, actual grief will not go away until we believe in this philosophy. After that you know, Sat and Asat. That's why we want to do this. You are deeply thinking.
No, yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
In literature of Vedanta, the real and the unreal are very scientifically distinguished. These two categories are not considered as indefinable in our ancient scriptures, though they do not declare these to be definable. The rishis have clearly indicated that what constitutes the real and what the features of the unreal are. That which was not in the past and which will not be in the future, but that which seemingly exists only in the present is called unreal. In the languages of Karika, that which is non-existent in the beginning and in the end is necessarily non-existent in the intermediate stages also. Objects that we see are illusory, still they are regarded as real.
Now he's mentioned Karika over here, and that's what we are studying, right, in Mandukya. So he's actually bringing the Mandukya, and in the verse that we'll be doing, he says exactly the same thing. And we have hashed it out so much, but just to summarize it, so there are several ways to kind of look at this, but he's talking about, firstly, it is definable and non-definable both, because they always talk in the contradictory language. It's something like somebody said that Maya cannot be defined, but you can experience it. Right? And there are so many things in our life that we cannot define, but we experience it. Even if it's my own pain, if I ask somebody says, define your pain, I cannot. Can I? Usually they say, no, you have to experience too.
Right.
This is, so So what they're saying is true actually, that there are certain things that are totally subjective. That's one thing. And then so that sometimes they just call two words, real and unreal. Huh? So real is Bhagwan, unreal is this world. But actually there is one step further you can take. So there is something is absolutely not there. And you can say that there is no such thing as a cold sun. Okay? So that thing is not there. Then a Sat is Bhagwan, which is always there. But there is something in between. In between is called Mithya. They don't use the word. They didn't use the word here, but you've heard the word Mithya in Sanskrit. That means temporary appearance, if we can remember that. So temporarily something comes and it goes, that's Mithya. And when we are doing the children's class, we always ask them, okay, look around and tell me which is a thing that will stay forever. Nothing. Because it's koi bolega bhai, sun will stay forever, but if you study the astronomy, you will find out that sun also has a life, 5 billion years, whatever it is, I don't know. So nothing. So that everything becomes mithya then. But we learn in this verse that, for something to constantly change, you need an unchanging substratum. It's a scientific fact, and then we will learn, what is that substratum. It is like incomprehensible by 5 senses, but it is there. Basically, that's what we're going up to. But just to give it back. So that's everybody kind of understood. In this class, I think we all do, because I don't need to explain further. We have hashed it out enough. So
Naturally, the real is that which defies all changes and remains the same in all the 3 periods of time, past, present, and future. Thus, in an ordinary example, when one misunderstands a post in the dark to be a ghost, the ghost vision is considered unreal as compared to the post, because the hallucinations cannot be permanent and it does not remain after rediscovery of the post. Similarly, on waking up from a dream, we do not get anxious to provide for our dream children, because as soon as we wake up, we realize that the dream was unreal. Before we went to bed, the dream children were not with us, and after waking up, our dream children are no more with us. Thus we understand and realize that our dream children, whom we loved and tended as real during our dream, are in fact unreal. By significance, therefore, the real is that which exists at all times, in past, the present, and the future. The post is relatively real.
the past
The
is.
is
The post.
the post.
Oh, actually it says.
It should be
Yeah, it
post.
should be past.
It should
No,
be
it should be
past.
Yeah, because post is like not relatively a post. In that
Talking
example,
about
post
ghost
is.
and ghost, right?
Huh?
No,
But
but
talking about ghost and ghost.
No, he's
No.
talking about past and
Past.
future.
Ghost is
Yeah.
related, yes.
See,
Ghost is-
in
Yeah,
that
that is
example,
okay.
yeah,
that example is okay. But this
this
word,
word should be
is
past.
past.
You're right, because post in that example is real.
Yeah,
So it
that-
cannot be relatively real. It's permanently real.
yeah,
In that
the post.
example.
In that
okay?
example,
Yes.
yeah.
So it is past.
Okay, I thought it was the post, but okay. The past is relatively real. It was, it is, and it will be. Now the stanza becomes clear. The unreal never is. The real never is not. Objectively spoken.
Can we hold on and
Yes,
explain?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, the post is relatively real. It is. The past, even I was just thinking about, okay, the past is relatively real, right? In our current situation, whatever happened 2 minutes back. Okay,
Yeah, you can say that. You can say it so many different ways.
right. And then it is still the same in the present. It will still be the same in the future.
Some of the things,
That's why they're saying relatively.
relatively, yeah. See,
Okay.
that's because we discussed, no, because in this kind of our transactional state,
Yeah, phase, yeah.
it looks real and we have to function and everything, but somewhere in deep we should know it's relatively real.
Yes.
It's not the ultimate. And you know what? We don't need to go too far.
No,
When
okay,
we die,
okay.
go
Why
on.
can't we say? Why can't we say it is it is only relative. The thing happened. It is still.
You
it's
mean you're
not
having
changed.
the problem with the relatively real word?
I guess. I mean, I
It's just a
understand.
term to say it. That's all. See, the thing is that sometimes they have to use different words. They may not be perfectly fitting words, but if it gives a message, we got to drop after that because we have said it. No, the truth defined is truth defiled. You cannot even define it.
Yeah.
So then all they are doing is they are trying to appeal to different people by using different words. But if you're getting the message, that's the most important thing.
We get the message.
Yeah. They don't, because there is no good way to define it. That's why they call it undefinable. Imagine.
Yeah.
वो
Yeah.
उन्होंने बोल दिया कि ये अनडिफाइनेबल, फिर भी वो बेचारे डिफाइन कर रहे हैं ताकि हमको कुछ समझ में आए, right? So I don't know if that answers your
No,
question.
it does.
Yeah,
I mean,
we
to
cannot
some
hang on
I
to
never
word.
thought of it before relative real till I read it and I kept on thinking about it. I said, that is true relative real because it won't change in the present. It won't change
There
in
are
the
certain
future.
things that don't, like the
It-
sky for us. And
So-
he's going to address that in the next verse when, there are some things we think that are permanent from our perspective. For example, the world was there when we were born and it's going to be there when we die. Okay? The 5 elements, they almost look like eternal. Right?
Yeah.
But from the highest perspective,
They're
they're
not.
not.
They're not.
So then he's going to use the word that this Atma is avinashi, means nothing can destroy it. Whereas
Right.
these things can be destroyed. So he keep going one step further in the definition, but he's starting with real and unreal. And then relatively real is, even Swamiji has used one word, relationless relationship.
Yes. Yes.
In chapter 9 he used that word
Relationship,
because
yeah.
even though we have relation with Brahman, but Brahman doesn't get affected by anything. So it's a relationless relationship. It's something like ghost and post. The ghost is coming because of the post,
Yes.
but post का कोई संबंध ही नहीं है उसके साथ.
Right.
It's just an appearance or the mirage. Things like that. So these are the topics of like deep meditation, chintan, thinking, analyzing on your own, sitting. If you got the basic idea, but
Right.
there is enough masala in the shastras to churn upon it.
That's it,
Verses
to
after
churn,
verses
yeah.
after verses, and after a while you will say, okay, now I get it. I really don't care about how to explain, but I got it. And that's where we have to just accept that. So
Do you mind if I move a little?
no, please, everybody keep moving as they need to.
उधर
Okay?
उधर आ जाओ.
I think look, that side is more deep.
Little bit
We
you
can
want,
keep
right?
moving this way. मेरे इधर आ जाओ, मैं ऐसे आ जाती हूँ. How about this? We make this circle a little bigger this way.
Okay.
So what is real?
Real definition खाली चाहिए.
This way, the only thing real is Brahman. That's it.
Yeah, true.
You see,
That's a conclusion, 100%.
exactly. The only real thing is, according to Vedanta, according to this definition, is Brahman. To make it simple.
Yeah.
True. But then some people might have this attitude that if it's unreal, why do I have to do anything? But then it comes to that, mandukya, that everything is God. So this is also God. So you are doing it in a relative sense, but you are just, like I just went to this one talk early in the morning in Hare Krishna. Last minute they sent this, some Swami had come.
Yeah.
And they are in Bhakti Marg, right? So they always want this difference.
Yeah.
So I asked him with the question that what about moksha and what other people say. So he gave a very interesting answer. He said that in their way of thinking, it's like I want to get out of my misery, but then what do I do? What is my job? That's where I want to love Krishna. So they have like this positive way. But they also talk about purity of mind. They are about the supreme Brahman, everything. But in this life, that should be my goal according to me, which is a very great goal because it will achieve you the same thing. Your mind will become quiet, you will serve the world, you will serve everybody, and that's what they want you to do.
By significance, therefore, the real is that which exists at all times, in the past, the present, and the future. The past is relatively real, it was, it is, and it will be. Now the standard becomes clear. The unreal never is. The real never is not. Objectively spoken, every philosophy becomes, to the practical intelligence of an ordinary man, an elaborate, airy nothingness. But when the same philosophical concept is applied in the subjective world and individually realized, at least at the level of the intellect, it becomes perfectly lucid. When thus this idea of real and the unreal in our philosophy is digested in our subjective understanding with reference to our own life, it will become